What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back with another rendition of Truth Be Told. This week, we know that the Democrats look even dumber than they already are. The impeachment trial obviously went and fell flat. They fell flat on their face. In fact, they exposed themselves for being the crooks that they are, because the Democrat Party is full of corruption, and it all came out in the trials. And the majority of those who were voting Democrat are now switching to Republican. The only ones who are dead set on staying Democrat are the ones who have no brain cells. Alright, moving on. Trump exonerated. They just show that the Democrats show that they don't care about the people. Period. They only care about themselves. Okay, moving on. We all know Picard is a big flop. Star Trek Picard is going nowhere. Not surprising, since we all know who's running it. However, what is kind of a big surprise is they're going plans for doing Star Trek 4. Now, there were rumors that it wasn't going to be a Star Trek 4. It was actually going to be a reboot without the Alex Kurtzman and J.J. Abrams timeline, because they screwed it up. You can't tell me that Nero had been out there for, what, 80 years or something like that, waiting on Spock to show up. And at not one time did he go and tell the Romulan Empire on his home planet, Romulus, to prepare get people off the world because it's getting ready to blow. Yeah, okay, whatever. Anyways, there are rumors floating that the director that was supposed to do the new Star Trek for the reboot or whatever has opted out, because he was not going to do the Alex Kurtzman or J.J. Abrams timeline. So it's up in the air now. No one knows what's going on with the project, if it's even going to get done. Even if they don't even know if the actors playing the new characters of James Kirk and Chris Pine and all that, they don't know if they're coming back or what's going on. So up in the air. Just have to wait and see what happens. I did go ahead and watch the new movie called 1917. And if you like war movies and you like that kind of drama, mixed in with a little bit of action, this is a good movie. I thought it was anyway. I like really good war movies. There's a lot of bad ones out there, but there's some pretty decent ones too. This one was really good. I liked it. It wasn't bad. That Dunkirk movie, I didn't like it at all. It was terrible. But this one was really good. It gave you a Fallout feel. If you've ever played the game Fallout, you'll know what I'm talking about. Through most of the movie, you basically are following one soldier as he's going through, the devastation that's been done to the countryside. He's running through this city, you know, being chased by every now and then he'll run across a German, and it looks like ruins. The whole city looks like ruins. It's a good show. It was a good movie. I give it 2 thumbs up. Check it out. Last thing I want to talk about is I just got done watching the original series of Battlestar Galactica. Now, I wasn't too sure because I never ever actually watched the original series. I've seen bits and pieces, but I never watched the entire show or the entire series. I'm sorry. So I decided to go back and watch the original series because everyone's claiming it was the best, and the new series was a big turd. And I have recently caught rumors that they are doing a new Battlestar Galactica. They're not sure if they're going to make it a movie or if they're going to make it a new series. But there is a new Battlestar Galactica coming out. And it is not based off that piece of crap turd from the early 2000s. It is based off the original series. That's the story or timeline we are getting. Now, the original was done in 1978. They only had 1 season with like 24 episodes, I think, or somewhere around there. 20 some odd episodes. And then you had, Galactica in 1980, which they only did a few episodes of it because it wasn't really that great. They only had 1 cast member, Green Lorne, who came back to play Commander Adama. All the others were new characters and nobody really cared for it. And then they rebooted it in like 2003 or whatever, and then they made a series out of it till 2009. But the early 2000 series was a big pile of garbage. It was over dramatized, and it played too much out like 90210 in space. They changed 2 of the main characters who are supposed to be male into female characters, which didn't work for the series at all and made it even worse. The Cylons were pretty much all humans for the most part. You very rarely saw the robots because they CGI'd the crap out of them. So they didn't look like humanoid robots anymore, like on the original series. So it made it was a pile of garbage. And even though the critics, the professional critics or whatever, claim it's the best sci-fi show ever, blah, 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 you can't rely on Rotten Tomatoes. Everyone knows that anymore. And Rotten Tomatoes, the critics gave it a 90-some odd % score. And then the audience score was originally at 20%. I'm not joking, it was at 20%. And they changed it to 90%. Rotten Tomatoes did. This has been done before by Rotten Tomatoes, where they fabricate percentages for the audience score. It's ridiculous. So you can't rely on that. If you want to rely on some reviews, you should probably go to IMDb and check out the reviews. Over 90% of them The reviews, they give it between a 1 and 5 star. Very few get higher than that. So that just goes to show you that the audience absolutely hated this show. It wasn't very good at all. And the writers and the producer of the show just kept trying to push it on people, and nobody liked it. That's why it went for so long. So the original was really good. I actually liked it. It wasn't bad at all, even though the acting wasn't like super or whatever, but it wasn't bad. There was some of the acting or lines were a little bit off in some places. I know they were on a budget restraint when they did this show, so naturally most of the fight scenes are between the Cylons and the Colonial Warriors, you know, the Vipers and their ships or whatever. They were repeats, like they rehashed the scene in several different episodes, so they didn't have to make new scenes, which was kind of annoying, but I understood why they did it. One thing I didn't understand was about halfway through the show, they kind of got rid of Apollo's sister, and they got rid of his so-called son, Boxy, and the little robot dog or whatever, the Daggett. They're calling it Daggett. You know, about almost halfway through, they got rid of all of them. I don't understand why. There was just no explanation. They just weren't there anymore. So that made no sense to me. One other thing that I understood that they're from a different part of the galaxy, so their clothing and everything was a little bit different. The way they spoke, some things were different, like they said centon or whatever instead of like an hour or minute or whatever. The new series from the 2000, they were all dressed in today's fashion or up to time on Earth fashion. So again, that's another reason why it failed so bad. Another reason why it failed so bad is you could see the same writers went to do the new BSG, the new Stargate, the new BSG writers went to do the new Stargate series, Stargate SGU, Stargate Universe, which only ran 2 seasons, and it failed miserably. So that, with the audience, so that shows you right off the bat how horrible the new BSG was. Same writers, same crap. They tried to pull it on the new Stargate series, and it didn't work there either. So the original was good. It was awesome. I liked it. Too bad they didn't get to really finish it. I know they tried to come out with 1980 Battlestar Galactica, but most of them don't even consider that canon. So I give it 2 thumbs up. Check it out. You'll like the original way better than that turd they called that just took the name Battlestar Galactica. Alright, that's all I have to say on all that, and then let's move on to your B-rated movies. Alright, you movie holics, let's get on to your B movie reviews. The first one we're going to talk about is called The Warlords of Atlantis. It was done in 1978. It starred Doug McClure. He was an English actor that seemed to be doing a bunch of B-rated movies back then. He was known for those. And then your leading actress was Leah Brody. Now, When there was no box office numbers on this. I couldn't find anything. That happens sometimes with older films. I can't find box office numbers. Now, when I was trying to look for this movie online, I've got a tons of sites I can go to watch movies. But every time I put this in, they kept giving me War Gods of the Deep instead of Warlords of Atlantis. Now, it is known as Warlords of the Deep as well. War Gods of the Deep actually stars Vincent Price, and it's also known as The City in the Sea, but it's an older movie. It was done in '65. So I watched that for the second one, just because it just kept bringing it up, so I went ahead and watched it too. But for the first one, Warlords of Atlantis. The story basically is this professor is out on an expedition out in the ocean, and he's basically looking for a lost city in the water. Not necessarily Atlantis, but he is looking. Doug McClure is an engineer. He thinks he's there to look at fish or whatever, that they're looking for new species of fish. He's not told the truth. Well, they end up kind of like this dome thing or whatever, dome-like ball or whatever, that they can go in the water and go to extreme depths with air pumped into it from the ship and such. Him and the professor's son, who came along with him, they go into the water and they run across one big old dinosaur-like creature, which they get away from. And then they run into this giant octopus that tries to drag everyone in the sea. Now, just before that, they had hauled up this statue that's made out of gold, which, I don't know, it kind of acted like that's what triggered the octopus. But he knocks everyone into the sea almost, except for a couple of them. The old man and the young guy. Now, the crew was actually going to take everybody out so they could take the statue and, you know, get rich off of it. But that didn't happen. The octopus drags everybody, including McClure and the son, in that machine or whatever. It drags them all into this cave, and in the cave there's a funnel of water that shoots them out like a geyser into this pool of water, kind of like a little river or something, into an underground world, or if you would want to call it that. They find out that there's several people there from the past, and apparently they can no longer leave the area because the so-called Atlanteans that they come across are like aliens, and they transform everybody's DNA to have like gills or something, so they could breathe that particular atmosphere, because after so long, if you don't, then you'll die, because the atmosphere is a little bit different in this area. They want to keep the professor's son because he's the smartest of the group, and try to use him for some reason. But Doug McClure breaks him out of it, and they break the crew help with Doug McClure's help breaks out, and they get out of they escape the Atlanteans back the way they came, and they had help from a girl that was on the island, which is Leah Brody, but she can't leave with them. She's got to stay. So they go back to their ship. The octopus attacks them again, and in the end, they get on the lifeboat. Everybody escapes except for the captain of the boat. That's the end. It was okay. It wasn't really all that great, to be honest. Like I said, it was okay. The acting was good. No problems with the acting. Of course, the special effects are a little bit cheesy. It is the 70s. But the story was kind of off to me. It did just something about the story didn't feel right. There wasn't really a whole lot of action, really, per se. I don't know. It was just, it was okay. I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. If you want to watch it, go ahead. Now, like I said, when I was trying to look up Warlords of Atlantis, I kept getting this other movie with Vincent Price in it called War Gods of the Deep. However, it's also called The City in the Sea. And it was done in 1965. And it starred Vincent Price. Susan Hart was the leading lady. Another main character was Tab Hunter, and the last one was David Tomlinson, which a lot of people would probably recognize from several Disney movies. He's a big English actor back in the day. This movie is basically about Vincent Price plays like this madman. He's really bent on this idea of saving this particular city that he found. He's a captain of a ship of crewmen that somehow found this underground area beneath the sea. And there's a whole city under the water, and he's been studying it. However, for some reason, the air that's from the gases of the volcano or whatever in that area has caused him and his crew to not age. So they've been down there for like over 100 to 200 years, trapped there, because they know if they go outside of the area that they're in, they will age very rapidly and die. And they're trying to find a way to prevent that. They think the secret's in the city that's under the water. And they've been trying to go through it and try to find something to help them out. And they still haven't found anything after like 200 years. But anyway, there are some mutations, like Black Lagoon type like creatures that he calls remnants of the past civilization that used to live in the city. They were able to breathe underwater and blah blah blah. They have to deal with them every now and then. Susan Hart, Tab Hunter, and David Tomlinson they find someone on the beach. He ends up being dead. It was one of the there was a professor on the island. He's gone missing, and it was the missing professor. They backtrack to where he had been. The girl gets kidnapped and taken underground to where Vincent Price is once he finds out about her. Through a drawing he saw from the so-called David Tomlinson. You know, he's supposed to be this artist. Well, he finds this drawing in this book from the professor that died, and it looks like exactly to a T like his ex-wife from 200 years ago that died. So he gets the girl brought down there. The two men, Tab and David, they go down there and hunting for her into these long caverns that lead way deep into the earth underneath the sea. They of course find Vincent and all them down there, and then he tells them they can't leave, but they finally figure out a way to escape, and they escape and make it to the surface. And Vincent Price eventually follows after him, but because he don't want the woman to leave. He thinks it's his ex-wife reincarnated. And he goes up to these steps to the surface, and he falls over and dies. He ages like rapidly 100 years in just a few minutes. And that's the end of the movie. Now, there's one scene in this movie that just got to me. When they're trying to make their escape from the volcano and everything, they go through this underwater walkway, which literally they put on these gigantic helmets, which is supposed to be some kind type of like scuba-like gear for underwater real extreme underwater pressure. That supposedly the race that built the city left behind. They also left some type of crossbow-like weapons that they are using through the escape. There's no talking or anything like that. It's all done underwater. You don't hear anything. You just see them, struggling or whatever in the water as they're trying to escape. And it's a little bit cheesy. Even the underwater men or the merfolk or whatever that's still there, they're trying to grab him, stop him, and they're shooting these crossbows at each other. It's a little cheesy, ridiculous. But they spent like 30 minutes of the movie doing this escape through the water, and it was just kind of dull and boring. Other than that, that was really about my only complaint of the movie. The rest of it was all right. It wasn't bad. It was one of those movies again. It's something to watch. But I love me some Vincent Price any day. That man was awesome. I love that dude's voice. Just freaky as fuck. I love Vincent Price. Okay, anyways, not too bad of me. It was okay. Still sci-fi. This is sci-fi week. So we did some underwater sci-fi movies. Yeah, they're okay. Go ahead and watch it if you want to. I give thumbs up, thumbs down. The acting was great, of course, but the special effects and the whole story was kind of off. So, those are your two sci-fi movie week reviews. That's all I have for you this week. If you have any suggestions or any gems I might have missed, some movies that you could think of that you know, not real popular that most people don't know about, go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below. Give me your thoughts on what you think of the Battlestar Galactica. Are you more into the original series, or do you like that piece of turd they just planted the name to, the 90210 Galactica from the 2000? Let me know how you feel about them. How do you feel about them doing a new Star Trek reboot or whatever and getting rid of the Alex Kurtzman and J.J. Abrams timeline? Like I said, tell me all about it in the comments down below. I'd like to hear from you guys. I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week. Until then, I told you you'd be told the truth, and you just been told.